And when we do all these things, then
So the next one is?
the next one is the which superimpose or interpenetrate the energy healers, especially Yoga Prana Vidya healers, are in very much demand.
And welcome back to Sessions from the Edge, where I have a talk to people who are involved and constantly engaged in chronic illness and moving forward with life. In each interview, I talk to 3 different types of people. Those are people with chronic conditions, their carers, and functional health professionals. And today, we're here in the Himalayas, in the northeast of India, and I'm talking to a very special sort of functional health professional, and that is a Yoga Prana Vidya healer. And we'll talk about what Yoga Prana Vidya is shortly. But I'm really pleased and so honoured to introduce Pradeep Goenka, who is a Yoga Prana Vidya healer. Welcome to the Sessions from the Edge.
Thank you.
Pradeep.
Thank you so much.
And so, Yoga Prana Vidya, could you just briefly explain what that is?
The term yoga is very famous, and if we divide these 3 words like yoga and prana and vidya, is yoga is union with the higher soul or divine self, the union of the incarnated soul with the higher soul. And prana means the universal life force which is everywhere, the prana which is everywhere, around us, within us. And vidya is the study of the two. So the union of the higher soul with the divine self through the help of the universal life force around us in the form of prana is known as Yoga Prana Vidya. So it is the study as well as the practice of the universal life force for the union of the higher soul to the divine self.
Now, one of the things that that name brings to mind is that most people in modern culture know yoga as just being what you and I call the asanas, and that is the poses and the stretches and so on. Can you just briefly explain what yoga really is in its much broader sense? Because you're talking about it in a different sense that most people would understand. What is yoga?
You know, yoga is not exactly only prana. When we come to Maharishi Patanjali, we come to Ashtanga Yoga, where there are 8 limbs of yoga. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. So Samadhi, or the ultimate meditation or emergence within God or higher self, is the main objective of yoga, which itself depicts that yoga means the union or the emergence itself. So it may start with yam and niyam, where yam means leaving the things which are not right for you, maybe changing your lifestyle gradually in moderation. Niyam means adopting the practices of life which is presently being needed for you. Asan means learning yoga postures. With pranayam means the breathing exercises with rhythm. Pratyahar, and when we do all these things, then the controlling of the senses, the outer senses, like a tortoise curling all the 5 limbs and going deep inside. Then dharana. Dharana means I am that I am. That is, who am I is the question. And finally going into meditation and samadhi and emergence within itself, within God. So these are 8 limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga, where the main objective is the union or the mergence, which starts the with the changing of lifestyle, the yoga postures, the breathing exercises, and finally they go up to the meditations and going deep within itself, and finally culminating into samadhi. So yoga is all taking all these 8 limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga.
And so that's yoga. Then prana is what?
Prana is the form of energy which is available to all of us, which is around us, which is within us, which is everywhere. So when we talk about energy, there is a full spectrum of energy which is available to us. When we talk about the energies that helps our body to breathe and do all the metabolic activities, then these are the energies mostly from the 5 to 6 forms of energy, which starts from the sun, then the energy of the air, ground, water, trees and food. So these are the energies which are available to us everywhere. And these are energies we actually breathe in and out with every inhalation and exhalation. So when we are talking about 5 koshas or 5 bodies, these are energies that run our 5 bodies, including the pranamaya kosha, where we do pranayam, and in a way that takes care of the physical functions as well. So these energies are available to us along with the divine energies or the higher energies which are present in the cosmos that comes during meditations through our higher chakras. So these are the energies which actually are the main reasons for life and our life.
And you mentioned the koshas there. What is a kosha?
When we go to Ayurveda, which is known to be like 5,000 to 50,000 years back, the ancient knowledge,
Ayurveda, yeah.
then Ayurveda talks about a human being engaged in the 5 koshas, a human soul who is engaged in 5 koshas.
Is that this body?
Yes, but this is a grosser physical body, but there are other bodies which are more vibratory and cannot be tracked through our physical senses. So when we can feel them during meditations or through special instruments, then we can see that it's a fact that we have another 4 koshas as well along with the physical body. So all these 4 koshas are actually 5 homes, or we can say the 5 sheath or 5 clothes of the soul.
Yeah, when you did your lecture the other day with us, the concept of sheaths really made a lot of sense to me, yeah.
So if we talk about koshas, then the koshas we can feel, or the which is less vibratory and more grosser, is the Annamaya kosha, which is also known as the physical body. Where Annamaya it is known as because it survives through oxygen, through breathing, as well as through food. So food is known as the Annamaya, Ann kosh. Ann is known as food. But beyond this Annamaya kosha, which we take as a physical body, there are other 4 koshas as well.
So the next one is?
The next one is the energy sheath, or which we call the pranamaya kosha, which superimpose or interpenetrate the annamaya kosha. Interpenetrate means let it goes inside and outside both. It is in the mesh of pranamaya kosha or the energy body the particles of physical body resides. Like in a canvas, we do the structure of the painting. So the painting is within the canvas. So in the annamaya kosha vesture lies the physical particles of the physical body, which is more grosser, and the pranamaya kosha is more subtle and vibratory. So when we do pranayam or when we take breathing, which is like 16 breath every minute, then this energy travels from our nose and from our lungs into the pranamaya kosha through the agencies of its availability into the air, sun, water, land, and food. It travels inside the pranamaya kosha and inside our oxygen into our blood vessels. So it is a very, very subtle level, and without this pranamaya kosha, we will not have any energy. And without this energy, all the metabolic functions will stop. So it is the pranamaya kosha that holds, sustains, and keep the physical body or the annamaya kosha as living. So beyond this pranamaya kosha is another three koshas. The
next one?
third one is the manomaya kosha,
Manomaya
or
kosha.
the emotional sheath, where we feel the emotions of good and bad, pain and pleasure. So it's a vesture of duality where we sometimes feel very happy and sometimes feel very, very sad. So it's the emotional sheath where sometimes we feel very much attached and sometimes we feel not so attached or detached. So it is because of this kosha or the emotions we become more human and more towards the body with desires. So it is also known as a desire sheath as well. So as we even move beyond this, we have Vigyanmaya kosha or the mental sheath. So mental sheath is basically the sheath of thoughts. So it is said in the science also that we have around 70,000 thoughts every day. So every human being thinks about 70,000 thoughts,
Wow.
and it's a train of thoughts that keeps on coming. So sometimes we have higher thoughts, positive thoughts, sometimes we have negative thoughts, and each thought has a emotion which they take from Manomaya kosha. So Vigyanmaya kosha and Manomaya kosha are interpenetrated, and finally further interpenetrated by the Pranamaya kosha and the Annamaya
Annamaya
kosha.
kosha, yeah.
So these are like dolls within a doll. And finally, the last kosh is of the soul sheath, which is the Anandamaya kosha or the bliss sheath, which we call. Like a soul is known as Sat Chit Anand. So the real nature of the soul is in bliss, like a small child, very, very happy beyond any reason. So this is the Anandmaya kosha, the last sheath, which is always in Ananda or bliss, where the people want to reach in meditations or in deep sleep. We are in Anandmaya kosha. So these are the five koshas. And finally, a soul over lifetimes has been encased and remain in these five koshas in their thinking, feeling, speaking, acting, and they form karma and remain encased in that positive or negative karma till it gains knowledge, wisdom, discernment through practices of yoga, including pranayam, including meditations, including lifestyle change, and finally one day come to realize his real nature as a soul which is free from all the five koshas, as merged in God, as a son of God, as made in the real image of God. That's all the end point of the practices of all yogas. So yoga, we must understand the real objective of yoga, which itself depicts is the mergence or the union to your real self, to your real nature. It cannot be just attributed to pranayam or yoga postures, or it may not be even attributed to lifestyle change, or may not be to meditations as well. Because these are all the path or the pathways together that leads to the ultimate realization of the real nature of the soul. So it is coming back home, reaching to your ultimate source, where you had started when there was the evolution, or when the real creation started. So somewhere we were all pure, perfect beings already, but somewhere in our dreams or in our desires, we waded across and made many pathways and was encased in many, many desires and bodies till we forgot ourselves, our real nature, and came a long way and in many incarnations. So this is the way we go back, accumulating knowledge, gaining experience, and finally waking up in our real consciousness.
Yeah. And I'd love to talk philosophy of spirituality all day, because we have actually been here all day in this lovely surrounding here, in a remote village, and it's just been an absolutely wonderful environment to talk about spirituality. Because when we're talking about spirituality, and Brother Pradeep here talks about God, we're not specifically talking about one particular God. Because if you trace back yoga as a spirituality, it relates back to Hinduism, which has many gods. And so the modern variant of that is that there is no one particular religion, that ritual, that has to take precedent over any other. All of them are spirituality, and all of them, regardless of which one you do prayers to, which one you do rituals to, they don't matter. It's just about you as the person, those five sheaths of being that we're talking about here in terms of healing. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about Yoga Prana Vidya from the perspective of healing, because healing for people with chronic illness is a very important topic. But energy healing is not something most of us would have heard about. How can you heal energy?
All the ancient or the modern scientists, they say that this universe is actually nothing but energies. Even when we hear one of the best scientists, that is Einstein, he said E is equal to mc square. So this mass, when projected with a velocity of light, will turn into energy. So whatever we see from this vibratory point of view, from these senses, is actually but vibratory energy. So our bodies, our mind, and whatever see around is vibratory energy. So when we come to the disease point of view and we take the operating system as energy, then as the energy in function, all disease are actually negative energy. When our system is filled with negative energy of stress or some tensions or some grosser negative energy that comes from our lifestyle or food or habits or some sleeping patterns which are wrong, doesn't go way to the nature, and many other ways, when our system again and again gets filled with negative energies and they remain within the system, so in some short or long term, the system doesn't behave in the right way and we get disease. So dis and ease means when we are not at ease. So the system has to have positive energy, and the system itself is a vibratory form of energy. So the system is releasing used energy, and in every breath or in every moment, it is breathing positive energy. But if it is breathing more negative energy and the energy is not going out and the positive energy is not coming in, so the system will gradually have disease, which we call the acute or the chronic disease. So, Yoga Prana Vidya is a system of healing where the disease is healed through the gradual removal of the dirty disease energy, both in the subtle form, that is in the mind, in the form of thoughts and emotions or patterns, and in the grosser form, in the pranamaya kosha, where it accumulates in the affected parts and the chakras and the meridians. So,
The chakras and the meridians, yeah.
we will talk about chakras and meridians. But so you must understand that a patient or a person affected with disease cannot do yoga because he is in pain, he is in issues, he cannot think properly, he feels the pain in the physical body. So he may not be able to do yoga or meditation or any other thing if he is asked to in a proper manner. So at that time, we need a person who helps him to at least partially or totally get out of these issues. So here comes the role of a healer. So healer is a person who heals the person in front of him by freeing him with the dirty disease energy from his system. So all disease are basically an expression of diseased energy, and as by the process of certain steps which we learn in Yoga Prana Vidya in different levels or workshops, as we remove the energy in one session or many sessions, gradually the layers of energy which have accumulated in the system over many months or years slowly is removed and the fresh energy is pumped up in the system through the healer by the process of energizing. So as cleaning and energizing, these two main steps goes on, where the cleaning is more and certain steps are being taught also to the patient. Gradually he feels relief even from the chronic disease, and this is a complementary method that goes with the modern with the modern medicine. So he can adapt this method along with while he is into the treatment of allopathic or any other kind of treatment.
Now, that's an important point because, in a lot of healing methods, we think that one has to replace the other. But what you're saying and what I'm coming to understand in the sessions that you and I have had together over the last couple of days, that Yoga Prana Vidya is a complementary healing process in conjunction with, as you say, allopathic medicine, which is modern medicine, Chinese medicine, naturopathy, homeopathy, all of those different methods go in hand together as they do with this sort of healing process. Is that correct?
Yes, very much. Because while we are in the process of treating the physical symptoms through modern medicine, like allopathy, we are treating the other koshas like pranamaya kosha or the energy body and the inner koshas as well through the basic or advanced methods of Yoga Prana Vidya. So, as we heal the energy body and the inner bodies and de-stress it, and as the medicine do the cure of the physical form, both the integration of modern medicine along with the complementary medicine, especially Yoga Prana Vidya, hasten the healing process very fast, much faster than it is done along. And that we have seen in many trial reports that integration of both the methods produce a miraculous effect. Then when it has done along in any of the disease which are both chronic or acute, Yoga Prana Vidya helps in a great way. Even when we see that the cure is not that faster, or even in the cases where we see no hope at all. The energy healings are the ancient as well as most modern way of treating any disease, as most of the disease, which even World Health Organization says, more than 90% of the disease are psychosomatic.
Yeah, so they're all in the mind. Yeah.
Because in this stressful living, most of the disease, they originate in the deeper level of koshas, which is most of emotions or thoughts.
Yeah.
And they are hardening into our system because of certain incidents or people or some traumatic situation where we are not able to forget, and gradually it is hardened through fear or anger or non-forgiveness, and gradually coming to the physical origin, where if we have to erase the root cause of the disease, then only the disease actually will go totally erased from the system.
Yeah, right.
So the disease like cancer or many other deeper disease like OCD, ADHD, or other disease of the mental origin, or even asthma, are all, or migraine, are more due to psychosomatic origins somewhere deep into the psyche. So need the help of the Yoga Prana Vidya techniques.
Can you, so in the discussions that we've had over the last couple of days, you've been talking about various instances where you have healed people. So for those that might be watching, can you just give a couple of examples of where you've had healing activities and successes with people with chronic illness? I mean, you did a lot of work during COVID, but you've also had work with people with stage 3 and stage 4 cancers and so on. Can you just sort of give us a couple of examples and what you did with those and what happened with them as people with their conditions?
There are many cases where the people come to us with stage 3 and 4 cancer. Actually, when you see them, they are more towards freer, looking towards the death. Here, one of the best ways is Yoga Prana Vidya, where you heal their fearful energies, their loss of hope, their guilt, their non-forgiveness or deep traumatic pain, and the side effects during the chemotherapy. And when you heal all of them, they are better than before. Though it may be like all of them don't get healed, but we have seen that their life is prolonged, their pain is much less, their acceptance of the situation is much more deeper, and their courage and willpower takes deeper shape. They are different person which come to us after a few months.
Yeah.
The second thing is their hope of recovery is much faster, and even the allopathic treatments in the form of chemotherapy and other methods given to them, and its side effects are much lesser.
Much less, yeah, right.
So there were many examples where one of the examples was my own mother, where she was diagnosed with cancer. And though she was very old, it was difficult to take her to chemotherapy. We didn't know what to do, but Yoga Prana Vidya help went a much deeper way, because she was not towards taking medicines or chemo or something. She was more towards natural healing. So we kept on giving her healing, and at that time I was in distant place in our ashram, and we didn't know what to do. So, but as we prayed and we did the healings, by a very simple operation, the particular organ was removed. And then she survived for next 7 to 8 years. And so till last year, she left her body at the age of 82. So we must realize that energy healings, they go much deeper, especially in this kind of cases, where the fear and trauma is much more deeper.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the patient loses the life because of her deep fear and lack of accepting the situation and taking death as a very difficult way. So, I think Yoga Prana Vidya goes a long way in giving such people treatment, in helping them at least a hope to heal, or even if they leave the body, then they go without pain and to a very higher vibration. And the cases like you take the like asthma or migraine,
Asthma, yeah, or migraines, yeah.
and many such cases can be very easily healed by giving this therapy. So most of the families if having such a person can learn and give such therapies to their own family members and get them out, or at least partially out of this disease.
So what you're saying is that it's not just Yoga Prana Vidya is not just the realm of healers like yourself who have 15, 20, 30 years experience and lots of success with other individuals. It's also something that can be used personally. So you can, for instance, do level 1, stage 1 training in Yoga Prana Vidya and be able to help yourself and your family. Is that correct?
Yes, very right. If allowed, I had some issues with my physical and stress part with my body. I was a salesperson initially, so was not going after years of treatment. So was healed by a Yoga Prana Vidya healer. And at that time, I was not having any knowledge that how it is working. So later, I and my wife learned about it, and it's a very easy way for anyone to learn within 2 days, giving around 16 hours in 2 days, and practicing gradually within the trainer. It doesn't matter whether you learn online even and practice within the trainer for some time. Anyone and everyone more than 14 to 16 years of age can learn Yoga Prana Vidya technique right from level 1 to advance and even more. Just having deep feeling to help himself and his family members and humanity by upgrading himself.
That's an interesting comment. I mean, you say anybody can do it. So one of the things I'd like to do right now, if you wouldn't mind, is just show people how easy it is to feel energy if that in fact you have that ability to be able to heal yourself. So one of the things you showed us was the one with the hands. Can you just show us how to feel energy, try and find the form of energy within us, near us?
Okay, it's a kind of small demonstration which we do in the classes or workshops. We are more used to our senses, like what we see or feel, what we see or we can touch or taste, or which is more tangible. We feel that this is the only thing. Though we talk about energy or a negative or a positive energy, we are not able to feel it. But the energies are around, and like we have discussed, that the world of physical particles are actually condensed energy forms, or within the world of energies, vibrating energies. What we also known as, in a very simple term, aura.
Aura.
So aura is nothing but all the energies in the 5 bodies, vibrating bodies, that is physical, etheric, emotional, mental, and spiritual. What we discussed about koshas.
Yes.
So aura is sum total of all the 5 koshas, which we can scan through our hands, which we are taught in the workshop. And gradually we become used to in scanning the anatomy, like chakras or affected part, the dirty disease energies or whatever. So in a very simple term, the main part through which we can heal or a healer can heal is hands. So your hands are very sensitive, and it has chakras or small chakras which we cannot see, but they are whirlpools. So through our hands we radiate constant energy and also absorb. And hands can be very sensitive when we start using these hands to heal people. They gradually become very sensitive. So healer uses his hands as an instrument to heal people. So we can have a demonstration, very small demonstration
Yes.
of feeling the energies through our hands.
And this is something for you to do back in your side of the camera as well. It's not just us showing you how to do it. This is also encouraging you to try this exact exercise.
Okay, we just close our eyes and just have a straight posture, simple posture, where we sit comfortably and we breathe in and breathe out for some time. We inhale, hold, we exhale, hold. We inhale again, hold, exhale, hold. And we put these two hands in front of each other, like this I have done. And then again we inhale, close our eyes, we hold, exhale, we hold. Again we inhale, hold, exhale, we hold. We inhale again and we exhale. And slowly bring this two hands, both the hands, slowly in front of each other. And as we bring in front of each other, as we bring slowly, then if we can feel that in some level, we feel something between the two hands, like a kind of elastic feeling or something which is more subtly tangible, where the hands don't move further. It should be very, very sensitive and very slowly. And then again, we take our hands a little far, then there is an elastic feeling or pull and push. If we don't feel it again, then again we breathe for some more time in some breaths, 3 to 4 breaths more, and again we try this. As we try, then we feel that there's something between the two hands. And as we do so, we can feel between the two hands a kind of elastic feeling or of a whirling sensation or some push or pull. And that is all the energy between the two hands. Though this is just a kind of reference to you, but we need a workshop and a class and a demonstration, and gradually at least a level 1 workshop where the hands become very sensitive. But at least through this talking and this particular steps, we can feel that the energy is actually there between the hands, and as we move on, it becomes all pervasive and we become very sensitive to energy. So we must always realize that it is the subtlest of energies, which is more subtle than a scent, that is taking care of our physical, emotional forms and also the world. So we may do this as we feel something between the two hands, and we may try this demonstration. Though this is a part of the workshop we do as level 1 and or orientation, and gradually as we learn the steps, it becomes, and scanning, it becomes more and more easy. So world of energies are like, for a blind man who is using the stick and the other subtle senses to walk. And it is like you go beyond your five senses and start feeling the world, which is everywhere and ever pervasive, and then become used to that world.
It was very interesting just then when we were doing that, and every time I've done this a few times in the last couple of days with Pradeep and others during our exercises and courses. And the strength of that energy is, I can't explain it. I'm an engineer, I'm agnostic, so spirituality is something that I didn't just suddenly fall into. It's something I've been gaining over time, and certainly in the last couple of years coming here to India within the Heartfulness Institute. But that energy is real. And another way, if you didn't quite feel that in the case with me, it's a negative, it's like having two batteries. Remember when we were kids, where we had that experiment at school and stuff, where you get the two ends of two negative poles of a battery, and you push them together and they push apart? Well, it's that sort of feeling. So for me, and the general feeling amongst people is that you have this space where, as you're coming in, it becomes, it's almost like you're pushing against the energy is pushing on both the hands, and they're pushing in opposite directions. Another instance that I did with a fellow Abhyasi, a practitioner, and myself and Pradeep the other day, we did a universal blessing to everybody, and he had us holding our hands and picturing a small world in front of our hands. And in my case, the hands got really hot, and I actually held my hands at the end of the session. I held my hands in this position, and I was actually looking underneath to see if the sun was shining on them, thinking, well, maybe it was the sun shining on them, but they were actually in full shade. But they were hot, and that same sort of pushing energy happened then as well. And I couldn't explain it. It was like that, the amount of heat, to give you an example, was like I was putting my hand on an oil heater, which, as you know, is quite a hot thing. And that's the level of heat that was coming out of my hands. My wife and I did it again today before lunch here with Pradeep in his place, and the same thing happened there again. So this, I don't know how to explain it, but this energy is real, and it is there, and you can even practice it on yourself. And I'll be doing a course, my wife will be doing a course as well soon, and others in our yoga studio in the months ahead to explore this further and be able to work on our own self-healing. So, Pradeep, other than just an exercise test, I mean, they can also squeeze their fingers beforehand as well and push onto their palms. That's something we did the other day, but we didn't do that here today, and I still felt that same energy push. So are there any instruments, are there any testing that is done during your healing process where you evaluate somebody's energy shields and so on? Are there any cameras and so on available, or do you use any tools?
You know, as the science is moving ahead towards the plasma body or the fourth state of matter, which is solid, liquid, gas, and then we come to plasma, the science has started talking about the instruments to validate the energy, especially at the level of energy health. So there are many instruments, including a very simple instrument which is known as GDV or gas diffraction photography, which is
gas deflection photography. Yep.
Which is also known as a biowell camera, which is very much available. And when we put our 10 fingers into that camera, the camera is able to scan within few minutes our level of energy in our physical body and our organ systems, including the levels of energy, like a particular organ has less energy or more energy, so it needs to be healed. And maybe a little bit towards the emotional aspects as well as mental aspects. It's a Russian scientist who has discovered, who has finally upgraded and made this biowell camera. And they are working with number of physicians and many acupressurists and other type of health practitioners in groups with many patients as well as, and have many trials. So the best thing about this camera is that as you scan the person aura, you see the change before the healing and after the healing. Like we demonstrated, I'm sorry, in one of the orientations and along with the audio visual slide, that a person who had some issues with brain as well as diabetic person was given around 10 healing sessions and was later again scanned in the camera, and later to be realized that his aura levels have considerably improved along with the symptoms. So this camera also gives us very precise reports that in which organ or in which parameter we have to work more. And as we work, we can again scan and see that whether how much more it has to be worked on. Besides, one thing is very important to highlight in energy healing, especially Yoga Prana Vidya, that we can heal the disease before they come to the physical body. That is very interesting, especially if we take like vaccines are there to protect us before the disease come. One day there were many diseases which were actually not to be cured, but after the vaccines came, now it is very easy to take care. So this energy healing or Yoga Prana Vidya is a kind of vaccination also, because as we heal the affected part or a particular disease which is known, we unknowingly heal many other diseases which are actually in the inner bodies or in the energy body and may manifest in the coming months. So the disease which have not been manifested in the physical body can be easily removed or unknowingly removed. And through Kirlian camera, they can be easily seen that which body part is being affected by such disease, and such body parts can be taken more care while we are healing. So this is a very interesting way to take care of a human and its bodies as a whole. Apart from healing the bodies and the disease, like you also see that many times we have fever, but before having fever we feel more of uneasiness or anxiety feeling or restlessness feeling before the fever manifests after few hours. So the same thing is that before the disease come to the physical body, it if you are sensitive, then it may show the symptoms in the inner bodies as well.
Yeah.
And
through those other koshas.
one of the also examples is like many times you feel the pain or some symptoms, but when you go for diagnosis in the physical instruments in the modern medicine, you don't see any parameters, negative parameters. So this disease are known as functional disease. So functional disease are the one which may be there in the inner bodies, but may have not till date manifest in the outer body, but they are there. But you will see that these are not, though you are telling that I am feeling this pain, it is not coming in the instrument, but it may be like the pain is real. So this can be checked in the Kirlian camera or through energy instruments or through scanning, and may be solved then and there very fast through Yoga Prana Vidya.
And how do you, as a healer, how do you heal people? What do you do?
There are the steps. There are steps in the process of healing, and as we become more sensitive, more advanced healer, the level goes on. But in a very vague, in a grosser term, if we say that we make there are two ways of healing as we learn, because you have to have attend through a practitioner of Yoga Prana Vidya, and especially a trainer who is a authorized trainer, who is pretty well versed with the teaching as well as healing, and authorized by Yoga Prana Vidya. So you need to learn the steps. So it can be done through distance and direct. So many people get surprised at can it be given from a distance? Like you are in Australia, I'm in India, and can it be? So in energy parameters or in energy dimensions, the distance and time does not matter, because the energies can be projected to any distance within no time. Within no time. Like you may be noticing sometimes, like you get a memory of a friend through a thought, and suddenly after years, his phone rings, and you had an intuition earlier only. So somewhere we are all connected, though we don't know, we don't feel, through energies, through thoughts and emotions. We are all connected, though physically we feel separated or in distance and time. But in a real way, as we go more towards energy, we practice, we realize that we are all connected every second by ocean of energy. We call the patient or a client in front of us, we make him sit, we clean his energies and project positive energies through a process of steps which we are being taught to. And we make him sit in a place wherever he is available, maybe his home, office, where in a particular time where he is receptive, and we take his photo and name and place, or maybe he's in a hospital or ICU or wherever he is. We can project from home. The only thing is he has to be receptive at that place at the same time.
Yeah.
Like we talk over our phone, the other one has to open the phone, start the phone and talk. So as we do so, we don't have to even use any video. He has to be just receptive and give a small message. And the time when the healing is over, he is given the message that the healing is over. As we do so, and as per his receptivity, we are able to produce the results. Maybe if it may take any number of sessions, it depends on how there are many factors like how old the disease is, the age issue, the old of the longevity of the disease, how old it is, the age, as well as the receptivity, and maybe some other parameters, the the experience of the healer.
I mean, that's the same with many treatments of any kind, whether it's allopathic medicine in a hospital. I mean, Ayurveda, for instance, is practiced here in hospitals, just like modern medicine is, allopathic medicine is, and also you've mentioned to me that Yoga Prana Vidya is also in some of those Ayurvedic hospitals. So as a treatment process, it's something that can be combined with other treatments to, from what I can understand, enhancing or improving the prospects of those other treatments. If somebody is getting a benefit out of, or getting some sort of treatment out of this method, how do they then? Is it something you have to constantly do for the rest of your life to improve your outcome and to start thriving past just survival? Or is it something you do a couple of sessions and then that's it, finished, and it's all done? How does it all work?
It depends on the client or the patient. Most of the time, what we aspire or we want is like a person, a soul coming to us as a patient or a client with the issues in the mind and the body, and gradually is healed, maybe after a few sessions or maybe some months. And if he gets results and he comes out substantially from that issue which he comes to us, we would like him to learn himself and at least practice on himself and the family. And gradually, at least he should be a help to his family and his friends, his relatives, and maybe in future grows to become a trainer as well. Because the world needs at least Yoga Prana Vidya healer, one family, one healer.
One per family, yeah.
So that we have not only knowledge about energies, but also actually practice them in our physical fitness, in our relationships, and even in our prosperity, success, and many other ways where the particular home remains affected. So we need practicing healers, at least one family. This is very important.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, it's very one thing I've learned about heartfulness and yoga and this therapy is that it's all very inclusive, and anybody can get involved. Anybody can have spirituality. In fact, if you've read my first book, it was about mind, body, and soul, and the hardest thing for me was to find that spirituality because of my agnosticism and because of the experiences that I've had over 50 odd years of life with respect to religion. And this is not that. This is very inclusive, and here we are encouraging people to learn how to do it in their own homes for themselves. I mean, this is similar to Reiki in some ways, isn't it?
There's a big spectrum of energy which is available to us, and Reiki healing, quantum science, and many other types of healing. are using this spectrum of energy. So I think Yoga Prana Vidya is one of the most scientific and the advanced way where you can practice energies within us and through many disease and many aspects of a life. So there are many other ways of healing like Reiki and all. They do use energies, and it depends on you how you practice and the way you want to learn. Though we are the practitioners of Yoga Prana Vidya. So all energy healings uses some kind of energy or other, and it depends on the healer and his experience. All are good, all are very functional, very good, and but as a practitioner of yoga and as a trainer of Yoga Prana Vidya, what I feel is it is one of the most modern and the most scientific and advanced way to heal yourself and other people and heal chronic and acute disease as a complementary science, as well as even getting knowledge of spirituality, which we talk so much, in an aspect of healing. Because as you heal with compassion and mercy, as you heal with love, you have a deeper feeling about what actually is spirituality. So it is like you can call it is meditation in action. It is like you heal and you are actually doing meditation in an act of healing. Besides, we must also say that it's a bridge between spirituality and a materialism.
Materialism.
Or the physical world. It's a kind of bridge where you join the physical medicine as well as the physical aspects of humanity, and through energies, and you join also spiritual things which are not understanding so much. So through the knowledge of Yoga Prana Vidya, your knowledge and your clarity is so much that it is like two wings of a bird. Like in one aspect, you are a healer and you are practicing healing on the people as a complementary science, or maybe relationship healings, or maybe other forms of energy dysfunctions, helping people. But in the very other aspect, you are helping souls to rise, right from patients for becoming healers, and further to meditators, and even further. So it's like giving water to a very small seed who may die because of lack of soil and water. A few drops of water or in the form of energy, and gradually you also don't know how much this small seed will become a plant and a tree,
Or a big tree, fruit tree.
and
Like
maybe
these.
infinite.
Yeah.
So what I've seen in so far, myself as well as so many of my friends, co-partners becoming, I also entered as a patient, which was not being healed so much, not being held by so much, and was not getting out of my situations and pain by a healer, and later out of my own feeling of learning it, how it works, gradually went to become a practitioner, and later became a full-time healer, a professional healer, And now as a volunteer in these hills to local people as well as villages and very inquisitive people like Paul, becoming a channel of humanity, compassion. So it is an unlimited growth where you hold the hands of the people and touch their hearts with compassion through the masters and God, which is flowing through your heart. So it is unlimited growth, which even I cannot tell you. But it is a way to expand. It's a way to heal. It's a way to be prosperous. It's a way to be feeling happy and feel love. And the best thing is, here there is no competition at all. I was also doing the job when I finally realized that I have to learn at least. I should not wait further. Why I should wait even if I don't get holidays from the work and all. So I learned and could not practice immediately. But gradually, at least the knowledge seeped in how the scientific thing is. Slowly, I used to sit whenever I used to find time and scan like Paul, like this, and gradually started feeling energy. Then I used to help my staff, though I didn't want to tell my company that what I am doing. So I used to hide maybe in where we used to stuff our medicines. And there they knew that I know something which can be practiced on them. So I used to help them. And finally decided to leave my job one day and come as a full-time healer. It's like growing, as I discussed. Even we don't know how much till the end of the life. But it is a vast thing which is hidden within your heart, within your conscious, where you just learn and keep on floating with infiniteness. And one thing I would also like to discuss that energy healers, especially Yoga Prana Vidya healers, are in very much demand because you have seen that there are a lot of psychosomatic cases and psychological cases, and especially stress issues almost in every family, one way or the other, maybe relationship, maybe money, maybe job, or maybe just lack of peace, or many other things. So we should, it's a very good way to start with the family. And finally branch out.
Oh, there we go. Masala chai. Oh, my favorite. Thank you, sir.
So it's
India.
it's a way of growing further and further. And it starts with simple, just 2 days practice.
Well, there you go, folks. You've just heard that you can become a Yoga Prana Vidya healer yourself. And why not? So if there's anybody out there who would be interested in becoming a energy healer, I'll put some details on our website and you can make contact with Pradeep Goenka. Pradeep, we've got these lovely hot masala chais here for us right now. Wasn't expecting that, but fantastic. So sorry, folks, but you'll have to go now because we're going to have these lovely chais. Pradeep, thank you very much for spending and taking your time
Thank you.
to join us on Sessions from the Edge and that lovely lunch that we had earlier today. It's been interesting while we've been talking here. There's been some a house being built down the back here, added to, they just add rooms at a time around here. So there's a family next door here building some more rooms onto their house. We've got the breeze, or now quite a strong wind coming off the Himalayas. You know, the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas are here in the background, and they've been coming up here, and you know, the throats are drying out and so forth. But it's just a lovely environment. We are really privileged. I am so lucky to be here with my wife and enjoying this fantastic environment. So that's the end of this session. We'll see you next time on Sessions from the Edge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.